everyone. Today we have our another new episode, and we will discuss on how to prevent deepfakes from destroying democracy. We have our world famous speaker, Professor Robin. What you want to discuss about today's sessions? What technology advancement are being made to detect and combat deepfakes?
Well, um, the detection technology is lagging the creation technology at the moment, but you can look for certain errors in the picture. For instance, there was a picture of Donald Trump in a church praying, but his hands had 6 fingers, and that's one of the consistent errors that AI was making at that time. And so you could look for unusual artifacts. What was kind of amazing is the hand looked natural; it just had extra fingers. But these problems are being solved, and so the obvious way to at least consider it's a deep fake is if this is a picture you haven't seen before, and the picture fits with what you would like to see. So, for instance, on Facebook the other day, I had a picture with Donald Trump dancing with Melania Trump and Stormy Daniels. As far as I know, those two women have never been together anyplace. So pretty sure it was a deep fake. But it came into my feed because I'm not a huge fan of the ex-president. And I've been getting a lot of pictures like that in Facebook. In fact, right now in Facebook, when you get an image, you really can't tell whether the image is real or fake. And we're being inundated by fake pictures on social media, AI generated pictures on social media. Now at Google I/O this week, Google promised invisible watermarking on anything that their AIs created that were image based. Now you can't see invisible watermarking because it's invisible, but systems can. And so with invisible watermarking, then Google, Twitter, X now, or any of the other social media platforms can use that watermarking to inform that the picture or image was AI created. Now, the AI part of it could be a real picture where AI was only used to edit it, and the picture could be real, just modified, because we've got a wide range of things we can do with AI now, either from coming up with just completely unique images that don't exist in reality, to taking an image that you did take and doing what might have taken somebody hours to do on Photoshop, and cleaned it up, got rid of the background people you didn't want there, or any problems with dust or dirt on the lenses, anything going on with regard to the environment around you. That can all be created now, corrected or recreated with AI. So you can have a wedding picture with people, a real wedding picture, but rather than being in somebody's backyard, it's on the moon or Mars or something like that, and it still looks pretty realistic. So the idea though is to really let people know that most or all of the picture was created by AI, and it doesn't exist in real life. And now the issue we've got with these pictures and how many we're now seeing is that it started to become an issue where people can no longer tell what's real or not. So when they see a picture that's created by AI that agrees with them, then they accept it, they'll repost it, share it. That picture is great, and they kind of validate it, because when you get a picture like this from a friend, that you're likely to accept that picture. But now they get a picture that's real, but it disagrees with them. They think that's fake. In fact, we've seen that a lot in politics recently. The politicians saying real pictures are fake pictures, and you and I can't tell the difference. So that's a problem. Legislation. What legislation could do? There was AI legislation just released. Most of us kind of think it was a paper tiger. Really doesn't do much, but you could certainly legislate this by putting in place the requirement that AI created content must be by law labeled AI created content, and it must be properly either watermarked or consistently identified. So not only can systems identify that it's fake, but individuals can identify that it's fake as well. That's the kind of thing you'd like to see from legislation, a definitive way that requires people that create these fake pictures to label them correctly. However, like with all laws, these laws really only apply to people that are in the United States. So if you got people in Russia who've been posting fake images, or North Korea, posting fake images or China posting fake images, the government's ability to take action against individuals in foreign hostile countries is fairly limited. So then it means we really do have to ramp up technology to look at the code that backs the pictures to see if they were created by AI, and that is something that also could be ordered and legislated. At this point, I'm not seeing any movement to do that. The technology would be very expensive. It does exist. I mean, we do have technology that will take a look at the picture and attempt to determine whether it's real or not. But the issue we've got with that technology is it tends to lag the technology we're using to create the images. So it may not always be effective. So we've got that issue as well. But at least the government could try to make it harder for people to create fake images and present them as real, which would be the problem with democracy.
Thank you. What you want to respond on this question? How can legislation be implemented to regulate the creation and disseminations of deepfakes without infringing on freedom of expression?
Right. I talked about the legislation side, but on freedom of expression, I don't believe marking a created piece as a created piece hurts free speech. The free speech allows you to speak your truth. It was never supposed to enable you to more effectively lie. And that's really what we're kind of talking about here, is a technology that allows people to more effectively lie, to create fraudulent events, and other potential crimes. And so in this particular case, because the activity is directly designed to prevent people from doing harm, much like signs that tell you to wear your seatbelts or to stop at stop signs, it doesn't infringe on a liberty, but the liberty that it's infringing, it's doing the infringement in a way to protect the people, and that's what government's supposed to do. What educational initiatives can be introduced to increase public awareness about the existence and potential dangers of deepfakes? Well, really, we can talk about it more, but again, and I've mentioned this before, is we kind of need classes in school, particularly early on, and how children should deal with social media and digital technology in general. And this would be part of such an educational process where kids are just taught critical thinking, so that if they see something that looks like it's too good to be true, they challenge its truth and at least validate it so that they're not too easily misled. The goal is to make kids, and strange enough, kids are naturally this way. I know when I was growing up, I pretty much challenged everything my parents said, much of which, surprisingly enough, turned out to be wrong. But encouraging kids to challenge, not necessarily challenge authority, but challenge truth. If it doesn't look to be true, then check it out. Feel free to go back and look it up, look for the source of the material, and certainly before reposting it, make sure that the material that the child to be and later adult is in the process of some level of validation to make sure that they're not spreading something that is false and doing their nation harm.
Thank you. What education initiative can be introduced to increase public awareness about existence and potential dangers of the deepfakes? Actually, deepfakes is very new concept for definitely for Bangladesh. So how you want to clarify these things?
Sure,
how does it work in Western world?
That was kind of the question I just answered, but right, just take children through. I mean, we're going to be teaching kids how to use the tools so that they can use these tools to create their own images and create their own works. I mean, right now I have every belief that there are a lot of students that are using AI to write their term papers and their homework assignments because it's very hard to tell when that's done. And I don't know what you did when you were a kid, but I was looking for ways to do things faster when I was a kid and very creative in so doing. But since we're teaching kids how to use the tools, we at the same time should teach them how to defend against the tools. It doesn't help you I mean, when we teach somebody to shoot a gun, we teach them to fire from cover so they themselves don't get shot. This is the same kind of thing with these tool sets. As we teach children how to use the tools, we should also teach them how to avoid being fooled by them. And so there are two sides of this lesson. And probably something that goes back into tech, back to the beginning when we started creating artificial intelligence, is that we should have been teaching people at the very beginning, not just how to create AIs, but how to protect themselves from the AIs that are created. And like most things, we're creating the enabling tool, but kind of lagging a bit on creating the defense against the tool in the future.
Thank you, Professor. My next question is to you. In what ways can social media platforms and the tech companies collaborate to develop robust mechanism for identifying and flagging deepfakes?
Well, here's a situation where tech companies do get together irregularly to talk about issues like this, either at conferences or they'll call special meetings. But this is a case where these entities have a choice. They can either set up a mechanism to regulate this themselves that's effective, or they can wait until government steps in, overreacts, and then they have to dig themselves out of a hole when government, as that most often does, overregulates, misregulates, and just creates a bunch of headaches for them. So it would be better if they solved this problem themselves, at least to a degree where it didn't appear to be as serious a problem to the citizens and government, so that the government doesn't step in and tell them how to run their businesses, which they're on the track to have happen the way things are currently going. So it would behoove them to solve this themselves. And to be fair, they are. Facebook has promised to do a better job of identifying deepfakes. Google at I/O has promised to do a better job of identifying the deepfakes their tools have created. So I think individual entities are coming around to the idea that this is a bad thing. When I say bad thing, deepfakes that fool people into doing things that are against their self-interest. And that it needs to be fixed. I mean, nobody really wants dead customers. Nobody really wants customers pissed off at them or upset with them. The deep fakes that fool people can make people very, very mad, and nobody needs that. So solving this problem makes sense. The choice for industry is whether they solve it themselves or they wait for government to bring in a stick and pound them over the head. And the way things are going, it probably wouldn't be the U.S. government that would do that first. It would probably be the European Commission, who has been very aggressive at eliminating technological dangers for its population. They've done a great job. I should point out that in doing that great job, they have limited the growth of that same industry in their region. So that's the trade-off. If you over pivot to protect your population, you're probably going to kill the industry. And I think the European Commission, they have over pivoted, so the industry just isn't emerging where they are. On the other hand, it would behoove them to talk to the U.S. and under treaty, get the U.S. to do some similar things, and then maybe moderate their own efforts so that they can build up their industry from their perspective, and then both the U.S. and the EU, who are supposed to be partners in these things, can not only share the benefits but share the defenses.
Thank you. My last question to you. How can interdisciplinary collaboration between experts in technology, law, psychology, and media studies contribute to a comprehensive strategy for preventing the harmful impact of deepfakes on democracies?
Well, first, they have to collaborate. I mean, in much of what we're seeing right now with the development of AI, you need multiple disciplines to make it work. If you're going to create an AI for litigation, lawyers have to help. If you're going to create an AI for medicine, doctors have to help. Technology cannot solve problems that it doesn't have. It lacks the skills to solve. It needs experts, and solving this particular problem would require a number of experts, politicians who understand how the underlying mechanisms work, lawyers who understand the legality of what's going on, and of course the technologists that understand the tools and how to use them. It would certainly make sense to form a consortium across these groups and come up with a set of rules, much like we come up with engineering rules when we're creating new products. I'm not aware of such a consortium. Doesn't mean one doesn't exist. I'm not aware of such a consortium. But as they say, if the industry doesn't create a consortium like this, then government will undoubtedly try to create it. Will mispopulate the consortium with people, and will undoubtedly release a series of rules that could be onerous, damaging, and probably not very effective. And so, because that's what government kind of does when they try to fix something they don't understand. So again, the goal here would be to create something that protects their customers and users before the government steps in and tries to do the same thing badly.
Thank you. What's your closing remarks for today's session?
Sure. Deepfakes is a serious problem, and it's getting more serious all the time. NPR just did a long story on how it was just mucking up our social media feeds. and particularly on religious topics where it's massively misinforming. At I/O, we certainly had and saw tools that will be providing ever more capability, and you'll be able to ask these tools medical questions and get medical answers. And we're all worried about what will happen if those tools hallucinate and the medical answer, instead of helping you, actually kills you. With deepfakes, it's the same kind of issue where we want the technology to help and advance democracy. We certainly don't want it to kill democracy, and that's going to require the industry to get serious about controls and tools that will allow people to better differentiate between real and fake images. If they can do that, I think we can make this better. If they don't do that, then government organizations like the EC are going to step in, the European Commission are going to step in and force it, and invariably they are not going to like the outcome. By the way, talking about the EC, they're pretty clean. They approach this with regard to fines, not necessarily with regard to laws and rules. So they're less invasive than most, but after one or two $1 billion fines, it kind of spoils your entire afternoon, if not your entire year. The U.S. is more likely to put in place rules and regulations that will be poorly enforced and poorly thought through. Here's a case where the governments also need to get together and really put together a set of rules that are well thought through by working with industry, that are well thought through, effective, and don't either over pivot so they hurt industry or under pivot so that people are left exposed. This is something that will require collaboration. It will require cross-discipline work. And right now, I'm not seeing enough of it.
Thank you, Professor Rob, for your excellent contribution for World Talent Economic Forum. And World Talent Economic Forum taking initiative as an institution, we will train 100 million people with modern science, engineering, and technology. So we need more of your support, and definitely we will visit soon USA, and we need more speakers, more scholars, more trainers from First World. Thank you, Mr. Rob. Thank you. Bye-bye, and take care.
Bye. Thank you.